once you're there, you start transforming based on that world. And it all depends on what you do. And I was trying to invent like this complex system sort of keeping track of that back when. Like, the idea is if you come through and you start swinging a stick, then you become like a swordsman. If you come through the portal and the first thing you do is like running around, then you become like some sort of ninja that can move around very fast. And what I ended up doing here is instead of even having a form system to keep track of it, it was basically you go through the portal, do what you want to do, you know, just make stuff. Just like the guy was like, okay, what if I have a spell that makes fire bigger? It's an enhanced fire spell. And I just looked at the list of like the abilities he had so far, and it seemed relatively balanced. You could have that with other people, and I was like, okay. And then he has it. Does he have to worry about like what his class is? Like, are you a wizard? Are you a sorcerer? Are you frickin'? You don't need to bother with any of that. You wanted a fire spell. I used common sense. The rest of us also use common sense. Figure, sure, that would make sense. So he has a spell now, put him on fire thing, you know. And then later on, maybe we get used to it. Like, hey, because I have this fire thing, wouldn't it make sense that I could do X, Y, and Z? You know, that I have these other abilities would make some sort of sense for me. Like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. What I ended up doing was people have been just great mix and match from like all these random concepts. The other guy was like sort of a rogue thing, but like he has like daggers and he like hides, and he had like an ability to absorb sound. So like echolocation wouldn't work on him because there are these bats trying to kill them all, and also made him very silent. Yeah, but then he also ended up having this divine thing where he could like summon this holy bow and arrow deal. Which you played was probably, he's a rogue, so maybe it's like a trickster god sort of thing, and I don't know, maybe make use of that. The other guy did like some parkour-ish type thing almost. Yeah, like they were in a dirt tunnel, and he ended up, you know, getting on the ceiling of this thing and putting his feet into the dirt and then like hiding on the ceiling. Like, that was interesting. At the same time, he was sort of like a librarian, because he had this book that was the dungeon crawler's almanac or whatever, and he would like, okay, I look up such and such in the book. I'm like, okay, roll to see if it's in the book. Roll for everything. That's rule number, what are we on now? 6? No, 6 was start off with as you are. You start off, you are you, and I should have mentioned this already. Whatever physical items you can find in the real world, that's your starting equipment. Which makes it an interesting pre-game. Everyone sort of runs around your house or whatever, like, looking for stuff that would be interesting, bringing it to the table. Look, I bring this with me through the portal. And then once you get to the other side, it transforms to something. Guy brought a BlackBerry. And he was like, okay, I brought that with me. What is that worth? And I'm like, oh, BlackBerries are electronic, so that's a lightning spell, I say. He's like, lightning, okay. And he started shooting lightning at people, you know. But I had to make it, I told him it was not instant kill lightning, otherwise it'd be too powerful. And he was fine with that. A system of negotiation. Not even a system, just negotiation. Roll for, what are we on now? Rule 7 then? Roll for everything. At one point I got to a town, and he's like, oh, is there a weapon shop? I'm like, roll to see if there's a weapon shop. Like, I don't know. So he rolls, and he gets a 20. And I'm like, right next to you is a weapon shop Walmart. He's like, great. Keep making stuff up. So I said, keep making stuff up. He was like, okay, what do I find in a weapon shop at some point? And I was like, oh, there's like some arrows for your bow, and there's some daggers, there's boots of walking on walls. He's like, whoa, boots of walking on walls. And then he buys those and puts them on. We didn't even keep track of how much gold he had when he bought them. Just common sense. Like, okay, I guess you can buy 2 items or something right now. Blah, blah, blah. He got the boots of walking on walls, which I quickly decided was the boots of only walking on walls. As in, when you put the boots on, gravity changes for you and you head for the nearest wall. But that's still useful, like, and strange at the same time. Make stuff up. This was so fun, what we did. We had people, like, they approached this town, and this one guy knows some basic Chinese in real life. He's like, I try to talk to the villagers with my basic Chinese. They hadn't attempted talking yet. So I'm thinking, okay, why is, sure, Chinese, why not? Roll. He rolls. Natural 20. I'm like, it's a town of Chinese people! Hey! And it became like a thing. Apparently it's populated by Chinese people. And oh my gosh, all this randomness, all this havoc. The idea of starting with whatever you can find in the real world being your equipment. It's just a springboard, just something to jump off from. One guy had an Xbox 360 controller, and he started off, he went through the portal, he was by a river, and he was like, okay, what does this controller become? I thought, it's a controller, it controls things, so how about wand of fish control? This was getting this great thing, because then he had this wand, and he had all the fish of the river following him, and they launched like this massive attack on the city, this giant thing of fish coming there. Oh my gosh. All this stuff. The guy said, I want a familiar. If you know what that is, it's like an animal that pops into existence next to you, and then it obeys your commands and stuff. So he was like, okay, I'm going to roll to see what familiar I have. And we agreed that if he rolled a 1, he would get a gnat. Little bug, you know. He didn't roll a 1, but it was entertaining, just bringing up the concept. I love this. That we're just batting around ideas. Just batting around random ideas.